Well, this is Baruch Fleischman, and I wanted to give you, try to bring a different sort of beginning look. So here we have the pages that we're looking at in Parshat Yitro and the Zohar. And that's what it says, Sefer Zohar, Yitro, and it shows you where the actual pages in the Zohar without the notes of the Malchut Vash. So it seems to me that what's going on right now, today is the 21st day of Shevat in the year 5784. And what's going on in the world right now, I consider to be a war for two things. The identity of the Jewish people. Who are the Jewish people? Who are we? And the unity of the Jewish people, I think maybe they go together. That the Jewish people are so different. Oh, we have one thing in common, and that is we were persecuted by Gentiles. We're not the world's, well, let's just say we're not living up to everything that we're capable of doing. So we learned, we try to get to the panemius of it. Who are we really? What is our identity? Are we Israelis? Are we Canadians, French, Americans? Are we Holocaust survivors? Do we come from Yemen? We come from Persia. Cultures which are very, very different. Syria and Morocco and all the different places that Jews come from. Argentina now. South America. How do you forge a common identity which identifies with our Holy Torah? So that's what we're trying to do. Trying to go to the root. The Rebbe Shimon, the Rav, that is the Holy Ari, will tell us the only way that we can change things. That's in our lives, our little lives, and the little problems that we have in our lives are the big things which is going on in the entire Jewish people. So the concept of the Kabbalists is to find a way to sweeten the punishments. Because the world is a short life for all of us anyway. Keep that in mind. The world is full of all different kinds of difficulties, and we have to manage them. So we're getting different ideas here about how to look, what to look for. Here's the Zohar, the Malchut Vash. This is shir number 2 on this. V'inen l'sara mamanim zeminim l'natlach v'inen birkon de l'ela l'araka l'sata. Let's translate the Hebrew. V'ela l'sara mamanim. So these different channels, these monitoring angels, mizumanim, they are prepared. The kabel ma'os and al-brachos, to receive from those brachos shel ma'ala that are coming from up above. Sheba Malchus. V'l'hashpiyim l'mata l'olam hazeh, to bring them down to us down here. L'varach l'zecha v'adam shebevarach l'kodesh baruch, and bring a bracha to that person who's blessing HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Kuhu garam la hamshachas hashefem mizir anpin, because he's causing for her or to her hamshachas hashefem, the flow of shefem mizir anpin. This is, in other words, the desire, the cry from down below is what we call the female waters. It is the cry of emptiness. It is the female who reproduces, but without a male it's not possible. So here we see that we bring the concept of Zer Anpin, which is the male, also known as Yud Kei Vav Kei, and unite it with the female, which is also known as Adni. 65 is gematria of 91. We see that other places. After Birchas Kohanim, after Birchas Kohanim, HaKodesh Baruch Pirish. HaKodesh Baruch Omer sheyivarach es HaKohanim, al shebarchu es Yisrael. He blessed the Kohanim because they blessed the Jews. The fish hem garmo his orders, because what do they do? What is the blessing that the Kohen is able to do? Shehem garmo his orders, they cause the arousal of Esser spheres b'nesias kapayim, of those 10 spheros that we've been talking about when they lift up their hands. Now he calls it Parishas Yadayim, here we call it lifting up the hands. So let's go on a little bit more. He said, so he concludes it, he says like this. So therefore a person has to guard himself. Let me see if I can get a way to get this so it don't bounce so much. L'chein yishmar ha'adam as atzmo, b'sha shemerim as yada l'mala. Be careful when you lift up your hands. Sheyehei b'tefila or b'bracha or b'bakash. It has to be those things. V'lo yarim as yada v'chinam, and don't lift up your hands just for nothing. Sheyehei b'tefila or b'bracha, yada for nothing. Here we go. The fi she'elo asara malachim, because these were the 10 malachim that we're talking about, the mamunim that are appointed over this. Hey mizumanim and misorder them ala adam kashihi parish as yada lomala. So he says they are just like a reverse puppeteer. Hey mizumanim, they prepare to misorder them and arouse to that man al ha'adam kashihu parish as yada lomala. You lift up your hand, the malach comes down. So he said, "V'im hu b'chinam." If he's doing it for nothing, just lifting up his hand, oz elohim b'ara malachim mekalalem. So they curse the person, but ramach kalalos with 248 curses. Sheniknasa b'ramach avar, they come in his 248 limbs. Keneged corresponding to this adim koyim meirim yada b'tefila bracha. So he says opposite the one thing, that if you could lift up your hands in tefillah and bracha, then you bring down 248 brachos. That are fit to come into a person's 248 limbs. This is what it means like this. This pasuk is so he said, V'echav, and he will bring curse, and will actually arrive at a person. Because of lifting up his hands for no reason. Begin kach, so he said, V'oz, ruach hatuma, shora al osam yadayim. Then you have a ruach hatuma that's resting on the hands. Now, what is this meaning of this? I'm not sure. Resting tuma on your hands. Because that's how it goes. This is the reason why a dead body is so talmudic, is so full of, because tuma is drawn to emptiness. So there's no bracha in a place that's empty. Because as Avraham said to the king of Sodom, Harimosi Yadi El Hashem Kael Elyon, I will lift up my hand to Hashem, the upper God. The Aramis Yadi, that lifting up my hand bit slow in prayer, Pirish. The Harimosi Yadi b'tefila v'locha b'chinam. I lift it up. When do I lift up my hands? I lift up my hands when I'm praying, not any other time. So he goes on and he says like this: "The mamshuk devar v'amar, uvazeh ha'inyan shal precious yadayim shal sodos alyonim." So this idea of spreading the hands, it has to do with a mechanism that's going from the bottom to the top. B'shal shehem nifrashav v'nizkafel v'malak arouse. So if they're going upwards in the right place, the right reason. Makabe the Adam as a Kodesh Baruch becomes so this Elyonis. So this honors the person, becomes man. Makabe the Adam as a Kodesh Baruch. Person is honoring Hashem. Becomes so this Elyonim with all different kinds of upper secrets. Mefarshim explains like this: Who roy liyached as asara ma'amaro. So that causes, that has the ability. Now, this is part that a little bit goes slower. Who roy liyached es asara ma'amaros, he's able to join together as a result of that the 10 commandments. Shehin sod es spheres, which those commandments, or the essence of those commandments, is coming from the Malchut of Atzilus. He said besod es spheres analomos, which are hidden, b'chachma, in the concept of chachma, which is the beginning of all the radiance of God. Ayadesa Eser is ba'osov lamala, by lifting up his hands. Now, I want to read it again because I might have just missed over some of the words. By lifting up your hands, who roy liyached es asara ma'amaros, he causes the 10 commandments to come together into one. Now think about that, because the 10 commandments are for our world, and they are 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 separate commandments. And this is the olam of the separations. So therefore it comes from a higher place, in a place which it is actually one commandment, one direction of light, of bracha coming at us. And it looked to us like it comes to us in the form of 10. But when he says you lift up your hands with your 5 fingers on the right hand, 5 fingers on the left hand, you lift that up, this causes the 10 to come to 1. So he said, "L'yached es asara ma'amoros shehem sod eser spheres hane'olamos," the 10 hidden spheres b'chochma that come from the chochma. Ayidei sekifas eser as ba'osos l'mala, by lifting up those 10 fingers. Kedei l'yached as called the eser spheres hanispashtos b'chatzilos, in order to make a yichud that is in one. The 10 separate become one in the olam of Atzilus. Of his Baruch Shem HaKodesh Shu HaMalchus Karoi, in order to bless the holy name HaKodesh Shu HaMalchus Karoi in Malchus, because to make that yichud in the Malchus up above. Hashroshim HaNe'olamim B'chochma, because he says like this, it's a little bit more difficult. He says Hashroshim, the roots. Now we understand we're always talking about the root. The root of everything is the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, but we're a long way from that. Those roots that are hidden in the sphere of Chachma, of Atzilus, Misyachidim, they come together. Azgam Asera Anafim Amispashtin the Mata Misyachidim, this causes everything down below it to also come into oneness. Mispashtin the Mata Misyachidim, and joins them together. B'meila Nimsha Shefach of a bracha ala Malchus, a tremendous amount of bracha comes to Malchus. Va'achse liyach for v'hu roy, and that's fit now. Liyached so merkavos apinimios, to make a union in the secret of all of those inner chariots. Like chariots, chariot's a beautiful word, but truck is another word. They're chariots that store your brachos, that carry your brachos. They carry a load of brachos. V'hu roy liyached so the merkavos apinimios shall olam atzilos. They're able to do that. His pashtos panei, by spreading the face of the hands, shehem makom abasar lamala, which is the place where you would have I guess he means with your hands open, like down below, just like your poseach as yudacho, you like your hands are cupped. That's what I think he means. Let's go over his words again. He says his pashtos panei etzbos, the face of the fingers. Shehem makom habasa lamala, which is that's the cup of the hand where all the flesh is up above. Shein keneged, let's see, I don't know what tag tam is this. Chag tam, okay, chag tam. I do know what chag tam is. This corresponds to chesed kedavur teferes and malchus. Those are the 7 lower spheres, even though it says 4, but you can divide teferes into more. So chesed gevur teferes and malchus, those 4. He said Shem keneged chagtam, corresponding to chagtam. So he said, what does that mean? V'sod merkavos. So he says haritzonius shebe'olamos bia. Ayidei his pashtos achre its baos makom atzvarnaim shem keneged malache argument. So let's go a little bit slower here. I guess I really need to work this out in this year, and that's going to be the way it is. He says, there's a lot here. Let's start back again. V'lis baruch l'shma kadisha kedukochazi, lehis baruch shem hakadosh hu hamalchus karoi, to bless malchus properly. Kikesh hashrashem anelomim b'chachma, because when this part I understood, kashashrashem anelomim b'chachma, that are hidden inside of chachma, misyachedim, they become into one. They all become one. The 10 spheres in chachma become one. Azgam asara anafim, all the branches that come out of chachma, hamispashtin lamata misyachan, and that spread downwards, they come to one also. And so then along the way, as you're doing this, nimshach shefach of bracha el malchus. So he's saying what's happening here is that the real bracha is the bracha of yichud, the bracha of oneness. V'hu roy liyached sod hamerkavos apinimios, and this person there becomes fit to make a yichud in the inner chariots. Shel olam hatzilus. Then how does this happen? His pashtus penei hazbos, and by spreading out your hands, and he's telling you hold your hands cup-like. Shehem makom abasar lomala, which is the face that has the fleshy part of your hand looking up. Shehem keneged, and he says that this corresponds, and this is a hard thing for me to understand what he means. He says they correspond to chesed gevurah tiferes and malchus, which is usually considered to be the lower seven spheros, so I'm not sure exactly what he means here. So he said, "V'sod merkavos hachitzoni." So that's the merkava penimis. So there was a word in here that I really didn't get exactly right. V'hu roy liyachid sod merkavos hapenimios. So this is the merkavos hapenimios, because now he's going to tell us there's also merkavos chitzonius. So olam atzilus. By spreading out the hands with the fleshy part upwards, which corresponds to the body, the goof of Zer Anpen, which is Chesed Gevurah Tiferes and Malchus. Let's go on a little bit more. That's how that works. The Chagtam really threw me off because I didn't see a connection, so I'm going to keep going on. But he said the words, and so we'll work with it. So, and then he says there are also chariots on the outside. So merkavas gitzonis shebeholamos bia, which are in the outer, that are not in Atzilus, but it affects them as well and brings about this unity there too. Shebeholam bia, which is bri yitzir and asiya. Ayidis pashas achre, its bows, and this happens as you extend the backside of your hands. Makom atzvarnayim, which is the place where the nails are. Shehem keneged malache argaman, which correspond to these five malachim, which are Ariel, Raphael, Gavriel, Michael, and Nuriel. And they always say that Nuriel and Oriel are really the same. But I don't understand the detail of that because they're not the same. The five names are not four, but they say that the first one and the last one are really the same thing. Now, there's a deeper truth in that, but I'm not sure what it is. So he says, so therefore, we're working on the outer worlds, which are called Bia, Yitzir, and Asiya. Kadesh Yisbarach Sham Hashem HaKodesh Hu HaMalchus B'Kol Olamos, in order to bring the same unity, this same lineup of things which are opposite and do not belong together, and bringing them together. Starts at the very top in Chochmah, the first revelation, and everything. Once that happens and Malchus becomes into line with everything else, then it's mismashpia to bia, to the lower worlds. So he said, "V'yisyached hakol ke'echad lamala lamata," and this is really the goal. Ki answer, it's ba'osiv, because his 10 fingers. Na'asas asara makoros v'mata lamala. They become 10 different sources. What's makor? Makor means roots. Mimata lamala, from down below to up above. Ve'eses spheres na'asas asara makoros malamala lamata. But it also, this yichud that takes place down below also causes a yichud coming down from up above. And this causes a yichud of all of the alomos, one with the other. By a person lifting up his hands up above. So therefore a person has to be careful not to lift up the 10 fingers of his hand, just lift them up. Because then, for no reason, you're arousing all of these lights from up above to come towards you. So he wants to say that if the malachim are coming towards you, you need to have something coming towards them. But the actual way that this works is that it starts the other way. It starts from the movement down below, causes an arousal up above. It depends on what the movement is down below. If it's associated with prayer and supplication and Torah, then that's coming from down below, going up above. And this will cause bracha to come to you. But if just for no reason you raise up your hand, and I was thinking maybe he meant that you're complaining, then the opposite happens. Let's finish up now. V'az asara malachim hamamonim al anhagas ha'olam. Then the 10 malachim that are really the main channels of power from up above that energize this world. And he calls it the anhagas, the working of this world, which keeps going around and around. That actually came out of the 10 spheres of Malchus. Now these actually turn into a curse for that person. And from this way, a noisin achiza l'chichitzonim. So this causes that there's a possibility that outside false ideas, isms, and all the rest will grab a hold of that mentality, that mind of that person. Which we'll call the outside forces, that's the klipos, bad ideas, curses, will come as a result of it. Well, this is Baruch Fleischman. I'm worn out. This is a terrific piece of Torah here. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kolel.